Arguably the most underappreciated signing of San Francisco's offseason was them picking up Demarcus Robinson. Last year for the Rams, he had a true breakout year after recording 31 receptions and 505 yards. And maybe most importantly for Kyle Shanahan's offense that really struggled against press man coverage last season, all 7 of Demarcus Robinson's touchdowns came against press man coverage, which led the entire NFL. So while it may take him a couple of games to get on the field as he serves a DUI suspension, I envision once he does get on the field, he's going to break out in a major way. And in this video, I want to cover just how he's going to do that. Initially, we're going to be looking at him in the passing game where he can not only burn you, but he can also moss you. Even if you have great coverage on him, that can often not be enough for a player like Demarcus Robinson. Here, for instance, this defensive back is doing everything right. He's right in Demarcus Robinson's hip pocket, but because of his incredible hands and ability to high point this ball, it's a first down for the Rams. I also love how Robinson can routinely go up against man coverage and beat it. Here, for instance, he's running a simple out pattern, but because he's so fluid in his route, he creates a ton of separation with this defensive back and then high points the ball once again. He's always going up and making these crazy catches. But he's not always just mossing people, he does a great job of diving for passes, basically doing whatever he needs to do to adjust the pass. Here, for instance, on this play, he's running a slant pattern against this manned-up defensive back. First, I love the route he's running. You can see how he hits him with this hesitation, which creates enough separation for him to get off this line of scrimmage, and then his speed and athleticism takes over. He has about a couple of yards, which is plenty for Matthew Stafford to sling it in on him, and if he got this ball placed a little bit better, not a diving catch, it probably would have gone for a lot more yards. An aspect of Robinson's game I don't think a lot of people mention when speaking about him is how great his body control is. Here, for instance, he's running an in pattern against the Bears defense, and you can see how he's able to rotate his body while running full speed to make this catch. A lot of people will see this and not think twice of it, but to me, this is a big time play. Perhaps his nastiest play on the entire year though comes when he absolutely burns this defensive back and then makes a one-handed grab in the end zone on him. While I've been mainly highlighting his hands so far, his routes are phenomenal and a big reason I believe Kyle Shanahan picked him up. San Francisco, like I was saying, couldn't beat man coverage last year, Robinson can. On this play, for instance, he's running a slant corner route, but what really sells it is him faking so hard like he's running a slant. You can see how this gets the defensive back to almost trail him, thinking it's just a slant, and then as soon as he sells him on that, he breaks out hard, creating, 5 yards of separation on this play, which allows Matthew Stafford to just throw it up, and he picks up 43 on this play. Another part of Robinson's game that's directly tied into his route running is his hand usage early on in the route. He does a great job of fighting within the first 5 yards at the point of legal contact to disrupt a defender's balance. Like here against the Seahawks, he's running a fade pattern, but because his defensive backs press manned up on him, he does a good job with his hands actually throwing off this defensive back's hands, and right there you can see all of that balance lost by this defensive back. He's chasing him down, and this is where Robinson's athleticism takes over. He runs his fade and catches it deep down the field. An important factor for any wide receiver in San Francisco's offense with Brock Purdy as their quarterback is the ability to operate efficiently in scramble drills. And Robinson, you probably guessed it, can do that as well. This takes a wide receiver who's understanding of what coverage the defense is running and the soft spots in it. Here initially he's running a streak pattern, but with Matthew Stafford extending the play, he's quickly able to identify the soft spot and once again torches another NFL defense last season by his savviness as a veteran. This is what I mean by saying he's actually put together his athleticism and his potential. To really highlight how smart of a football player he's become over the course of his NFL career, on this play, you'll see how he's running a corner route, but really focus on how he changes the way he's running this route. Initially, it looks like he'll use a hesitation to beat this coverage, but because he's able to quickly identify this as zone coverage, he realizes he needs to change this approach, so he runs a route with less moves in it because he needs to beat this safety who's already down deep on the field. And you can see how this is actually the right move because he's able to catch on him and pick up the first down once again for the Rams offense. Another reason I think that he makes a lot of sense for San Francisco's offense is he can run all the routes Kyle Shanahan loves to call. Here against the Seahawks, for instance, he'll be running an over pattern with this defensive back manned up on him, but really focus on how much separation he's able to create. It's a ton. This is way more than Deebo Samuel created last year, and this is why San Francisco has a change in philosophy moving forward. Now here going against the 49ers, he'll be running a deep over, but what I really want to focus on this play is his ability to break tackles. Huff comes up and tries to make a tackle on him, he breaks it and gets an additional 5 yards. Maybe more importantly for San Francisco, he's a touchdown scoring machine. If you're inside the 25, he can score anywhere. Here for instance, going against this defensive back, he'll be running a fade, and you can see how this hesitation gives him enough separation, and even with a misplaced ball, he still brings this in for a touchdown. Where he's probably best though in the red zone is as a goal line threat. He does a great job with these pivot routes creating separation. You'll see how he breaks in hard, it gets his defensive back momentum going all that direction, and then because of his change of direction, it creates a boatload of separation, catching another touchdown. To really hammer down on this point, I want to look at one more pivot route where he scores. Here, fakes hard inwards, gets his defensive back to jump, and then scores again. This is a change of momentum that is elite that the NFL was talking about coming out of Florida. Important as route running and catching is for San Francisco's offense, maybe equally as important is a wide receiver's ability to block. And on this play, you can see how Robinson's ability to push out this defensive back from the Bears really springs this run. In a similar way on this play, Robinson will be run blocking, but specifically I want to focus on his hook block. He's able to flip his hips, which essentially cuts off this defensive back from the play. This is a pretty excellent block. I don't think this means we're going to see him throwing people into the ground like Juwan Jennings, but from what I can tell, he's a willing blocker on his film. So even though most likely we won't see Demarcus Robinson until maybe week 3 or 4 as he serves his DUI suspension, I think during this training camp period, when he does practice, he's going to really establish himself as a true number 1 for San Francisco, especially if Juwan Jennings isn't out there. I mean, already this offseason, he's started to build his chemistry with Brock Purdy, catching both short, intermediate, and deep passes, so he can really do it all, and I think he's just going to continue to build on that chemistry. I also think their 2-year contract for $9.5 million is basically a steal, especially with all the uncertainty at the position now. I mean, it's possible Brandon AIYUK comes back and can't beat man coverage in the same way, so Demarcus Robinson could fill his role there. And even if San Francisco's wide receiver position group works out perfectly, Juwan Jennings gets extended and Brandon AIYUK looks like the same player, Demarcus Robinson still should have a major role for Kyle Shanahan over the next 2 seasons. But these are just some of my thoughts on Demarcus Robinson as we close in on this training camp and preseason period, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about him down below as a player, and it would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video to go ahead and like and subscribe. It really helps out a ton. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.